Hey everybody, welcome to vRealize This Live, episode number 5. Joining me today is Mr. Thomas Bryant. Thomas, how you doing today?
Oh man, it's another day in paradise here in Texas.
Yeah, I bet. Well, Thomas, you're on Twitter at Kicks1979. And there we go. There's the graphic there. And I am Matt Bradford at VM Spot. So thank you everybody for joining us today. Very exciting episode talking about log management. So looking at things like vRealize Log Insight Cloud. And Thomas, I remember back when it was just a matter of trying to collect your logs within your own data center, right? Having to SSH and the number of hosts that first time, the switches. Next thing you know, you've got about 32 PuTTY or SSH tabs open, and it is just a nightmare. And that's when we started implementing things like.
No, well, we lost Matt, but yeah, Matt, I got to tell you that it was the same kind of thing in my neck of the woods. It wasn't just the things, network devices and all the other pieces. It was Windows. How the heck do I get all the logs out of Windows? It was daunting, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where tools like vRealize Log Insight came in and, started implementing those solutions that kind of made things a heck of a lot easier. So without any further ado, we have Julie Roman on the show today. Good morning, Julie. How are you?
Hey, guys. I'm good.
And Julie is on Twitter. She is a sneaky sneak. It is _VRO. That is _VRO. And, Julie, thanks for jumping on today. For anybody here who has questions, obviously, we are doing this live. So if you have any questions, throw them in the chat, and we will try to get them answered for you. So, Martine Smith with a nice comment here, System Center. Remember those days. So, Julie, obviously, nowadays we've got slightly different problems to solve. We're not just looking to consolidate all of our logs within the data center. Now we've got data center sprawl, and we need a tool to be able to consolidate all of those logs across data centers, public cloud, multi-cloud, private cloud, all of these wonderful things. So talk to us a little bit about vRealize Log Insight Cloud and kind of what that can do to help us solve some of these issues.
Yeah, this last year we rounded out our cloud support. So we support all the major clouds, Azure, AWS, and GCP. So we've always supported VMC on AWS, and that's natively, and that comes free with the VMC offering. But we've built out the support, so we can do your on-prem logs, we can do all the major cloud logs. So you have this single pane where you can view all of your data, which is really nice if you're having network-related issues, and it's just a one-stop shop. In addition to that, we have a lot of enhanced search features and stuff that other clouds don't necessarily have. You don't need to know any special query language. You can do plain text search. So it's really an intuitive, easy-to-use interface that you can use for all of your infrastructure.
Interesting point there, talking about networking issues. One of the great values of having this as a SaaS-based offering, we're not necessarily reliant on your network, right? Obviously to collect the logs, but if you need to do some root cause analysis, right, all you need is an internet connection, and you can go through and see what's happened, right?
Right.
So awesome. So let's jump right into it and take a look at vRealize Log Insight Cloud. And what are you going to show us first here?
I think it's important to figure out how you get logs into the environment. So log sources is our in-product documentation where we explain how to configure your various applications and services to use Log Insight. So for example, if I wanted to set up a Google log source, I would just come in here to the specific application that I wanted to configure. And it's going to walk me through all of the steps that I need to implement on the platform. And I actually have a video on YouTube of doing this. Configuring any of the cloud log sources takes under 5 minutes. For GCP, this took me about 2 minutes. Now, I can specify specific log messages, like here, where this is specific to cloud storage, or I can just choose to send all my logs. So it's very easy. If you did want all your Google logs, you could just do that. And like I said, it takes about 2 minutes, and it's just using an HTTPS endpoint as the configuration method. So it's similar for all of our logs. We have, divided up into different types of applications. We've got the 40 main log sources for AWS. Again, you can just configure the general AWS logging if you want to do that as well. And the same goes for Azure and any of your on-prem log sources as well. So that's how you get the details on how to configure them. And then once you have them configured, we can come in and use content packs to get some out-of-the-box information. So this would include out-of-the-box dashboards, alerts, queries. So obviously we've got all of our VMware products in here. So hopefully many of you are familiar with those, but we could also set up like an infrastructure log source or application log source. So if I want to set up my Active Directory logs, I have a content pack. So if I click into here, I can see all the details that I'm going to get. So this is going to go over all of the dashboards that I have available, and it's broken out into different services. It'll also include information about all the queries that are available. And then these are all of the out-of-the-box alerts that I can go ahead and enable. And then in the case of Active Directory, it is actually using login site agents, and I'm going to show you what that looks like, because for anything that's agent-based, you do need a cloud proxy. So that's just a virtual appliance that's very easy to set up. And then it'll show me all the field extractions, and this is helpful just to understand what is being analyzed in the log data. And it kind of gives you the regular expression values, which is always good to know. I'm always trying to get more savvy in using the regex. So, but I don't really need to know anything because it has everything built in here. Now I mentioned you need a cloud proxy. So I will get to that, but just make sure if you have any questions, you put them in the chat, because this is, we want to make sure that we're covering what you are interested in. Cloud proxies are typically deployed per data center. You can have multiple cloud proxies in the same data center. Here in my environment, I have a cloud proxy on-prem to gather my vSphere and application logs from my on-prem environment. And then I also have a proxy in VMC, so I can grab my application logs using the agent in the VMC environment. So for VMC on AWS, there's no proxy required. Everything's built into the platform. When you need a cloud proxy is if for on-prem you want to add your vCenters, or you're using the login site agent to send your application logs. And in the cloud, you would use the proxy for sending for the login site agent as well, if you want to send to the proxy in the cloud. So I still don't see any questions here. So let's look at some of the out-of-the-box content that we have. We have the dashboard workbench. Dashboards are great for visualizing your log data and quickly viewing an overview of various applications, so you can see if there's any strange activity in the environment. There's a couple of different ways you can search for dashboards. I could just come in here and search for AWS, for example, and I would get AWS-related dashboards. I can also filter these by content packs. So if I would just want to look at AWS Cloud Watch, for example, I can view that by coming in here. I can select multiple dashboards and add tags to them. So I can have another search option. Say I just want the operations team to have all the dashboards required to do their work tag. We could add information like that. So I can choose something predefined. And then I could also do bulk actions to add things to my favorites or add them to a different list. Now, if I wanted to click in, I just click on the dashboard, and it's going to show me the relevant information for the category I've selected. Once I'm in dashboards, I can also come in here and say I wanted a CloudWatch overview dashboard for AWS. I just click in there and choose whatever application I'm interested in. Let's take a look at some GCP. We've got some, extend the time frame. By default, it's just going to grab the last 5 minutes of data, and that's to make the search performance, as fast as possible. But notice I'm just extending the timeout a little bit longer to get some more data. And I may have something in here where I want to view the log messages. So if I want to see the activity related to deleting an object, or in this case, they've deleted a whole bucket, so basically the equivalent of a folder, I'll pop in here and get the details on the log message. And this can be a little bit hard to interpret sometimes, especially with some of the new cloud logs. They're giving you a lot of data, but we kind of break it down for you by these fields. These are all identified upon ingestion for the most part. And I'll get details on where, what type of log it is, who did the action, and the resource that's being impacted, and the action that's taken on that. So that's really helpful. Now I may say, well, if somebody's deleting a bucket, I want to get an alert on that. So I have this option to create a new alert. Because I already had the query that was used to provide the information in the dashboard, I can just hop into here and it's already populating that query for me.
Wow.
So I can just create an alert, and I'll just want to enable that. The new feature we added a couple months ago was added trigger conditions. So if we have maybe something's happening, like if one bucket's deleted, I don't really care as much. So if it's greater than 1, I just want an informational alert. And by default, the notification is going to come into this alerts area, and I'll show you that in a moment. But I could also choose to send a Slack notification, or I can add an email recipient. So we'll just do a Slack notification. I could add another trigger condition. So if it's greater than 2, I want it to be more of an immediate, and then I can choose additional notifications options.
So this is pretty cool. I mean, this is good for like auditing, right? If you wanted to collect every time something's been deleted, but don't wake me up at 2 a.m. unless somebody starts mass deleting buckets here, right? This is really, really cool.
Yeah, exactly. What we have set up in our environment, as you know, Matt, is we'll log failed login attempts. And so we don't care if people occasionally mistype a password, but we set the threshold to like 50 so that if we have 50, we're going to get an alert. Otherwise, we just want to be notified if it's like 10, I believe I have it set for. In any case, we noticed that somebody was trying to use somebody else's account to log into our environment. And so we could see those bad attempts, and then we could identify the IP address that it was generated for, and so we could remediate that issue. So that's a really popular one for adding multiple trigger conditions based on the amount of failures. And sometimes, we just want to be notified every time it happens, and that's fine. We're also able to add metadata in here, or we can add a recommendation so that when the alert comes through, it'll tell me what I need to do to remediate that. So
of course, our alert notification will give you some important details of what actually happened, what's in that log message too, right?
Right. So I'm going to save this. And if I wanted to, I could come in and view that query, which we already looked at. But if I come over into the alert management, I'll get all the triggered alerts over time. Maybe I don't care about informational alerts. I could trigger that out. We're only looking at the last 5 minutes. So let's expand that a little bit. So if I just want to look at my critical and immediate alerts, I can view that. And then if I want to view the details, so I had an example where I just want to get an alert when somebody is using an API token. So all of the cloud applications, typically not just VMware, but other services, use tokens to authenticate for security purposes. And had an instance where an employee left the company, and someone wanted to see if there were any active API tokens so that they could change those specific applications to use a new token, and I could just come in here and filter that information. So these are all the logins that have owned specific API tokens. So if somebody was no longer with the company, I could go ahead and revoke that token. If we have a lot of out-of-the-box content. As I mentioned, we have GCP dashboards out of the box. We have AWS dashboards. Next month, we're going to be releasing some out-of-the-box content for Azure. But sometimes we have customers that are using in-house applications, so they might want to build their own dashboards for their application. So one thing that you can do is filter through your log messages. And log type is kind of a key field that we can use. So if I wanted to do all my AWS logs, for example, I would just do log type starts with AWS, and it's going to go ahead and show me all of the logs of that type. But I have a lot of services configured for AWS. So, this is like an S3 log. I'll get all this detail in the log message and the learn fields that are processed upon ingestion. So if I want to see, well, what types of AWS logs do I have, instead of viewing this over time, oops, sorry. Come on. I don't know why. All right,
there was one of those solar flares again. It happens.
It's like my mouse locked up or something, I'm not sure. So anyway, so I have all these AWS logs. And if I group it by the field that I'm actually searching for, oops, I accidentally selected an extra value there. You don't want that value. If you select something that's not present in the log messages, surprise, you don't get any results. So this is
validating that it works.
Yes. So this is telling me the different AWS log types I'm getting. Again, if I extend the time frame, I might get a little bit more data. And if I wanted to, I could favorite this query, or I could save it as like AWS logs. Type or category, whatever. In any case, I can save that query. Once I've saved the query, I can add it to dashboards. Another log type that we have are our cloud services platform logs. So what I did is we didn't have a dashboard out of the box for that. So what I could do is just come over to dashboards, and I actually just want to create a new dashboard. So this is our dashboard workbench. And I've created some CSP fields. So I can just come in here and drag these onto a dashboard, right? And once I have that done, let's see, we'll do logins. You want to note, in order to view the cloud services platform logs, you do have to be an org admin, and that's just because these are obviously privileged logs. We don't want people to be able to see those if they don't have rights to the CSP to modify those permissions. But
Sure.
I have this query here that's CSP usage by service. So if I created a new service and added a new, say I added vRealize operations or something to this org, I might want to see who's logged in. And so with this dashboard, I just created a query and I'm just grouping it by the client services name, which is this value over here, which is telling me the name of the application. So even if we don't have out-of-the-box content, by viewing the log messages, you can get a lot of detail that might help you go, okay, well, I want to get logs of this type, and it's going to tell you the field that you need to use to get that value. Again, you can come in here then and then group your search by that, so you get some rich dashboards with a lot of detail.
Yeah, this is really cool. And, we kind of started off talking about how to connect vRealize Log Insight Cloud to various services, but I guess one thing, we don't need to configure anything for CSP logs. Is that right?
Nope, that's part of that's just built into the platform. So it'll be it's included by default with VMC on AWS. You actually are limited to 1 gig of those logs, which is usually plenty sufficient. But yeah, you can if you have the full version, because we are talking about using all your cloud logs, then this is included and you get all the logs in there.
Really, really cool. Is there, I know we're running a little bit short on time here. Certainly love to have you back on because I want to dive a lot deeper into vRealize Log Insight Cloud. Is there anything you kind of want to show us in closing here?
We are adding some new features. This is not released yet, but we have an analytics area that we're adding. And this has some KB insights. So this is knowledge base articles and community articles that are in the VMware realm for now, so that you can get, if you have specific log messages come in, it's going to associate KBs and community articles that might be related to those. So if I wanted to view this vSAN health error or log message, I guess it's not necessarily an error. I can view those details in a moment here.
We're really looking things up based on log messages and just providing a lot more context about what they mean, right? Is that what KB Insights is? Because this sounds really cool.
Yeah, so it'll link a KB article to the log message, and then you can view that KB article and use that to remediate the issue. We're also adding some upvote, downvote. So if we are linking KB articles that maybe aren't, doesn't work for that particular log message, or in your case, you can upvote and downvote. So it's going to be continuously learning about the most effective insights. And then in the future, we hope to include this for other platforms as well.
Well, that is really cool. I mean, one of the cool benefits with vRealize Log Insight Cloud is, I mean, we're constantly pushing out new features like this, right? And I assume we're going to be constantly updating the KBs and growing out this feature a lot more to really help you troubleshoot a lot faster.
Yeah, definitely. Because we're releasing about a feature a month. So, like I said, we're also going to introduce features for like live tail, and we're continuously updating the content pack marketplace. So if you do know of anything that maybe you want to make sure that we include, just let your VMware account team know, because we're very interested in what you need so that we can build that into the platform.
Awesome. Julie, thanks so much for taking the time today. Show us vRealize Log Insight Cloud. Can't wait to have you back on to show us even more awesome stuff, and maybe even see some of the stuff we got in vRealize Log Insight, right? There's an on-premises version as well. 8.4 just dropped, I think, last month. A lot of new features in there. So go check out the VMware Cloud Management blog. There's some what's new in Log Insight 8.4. Julie, you're putting out a whole lot of content too on Log Insight Cloud and Log Insight. I see like new videos come up in the YouTube feed almost, weekly anyways. So you're busy cranking out content.
Yeah, if we're missing anything, just let us know.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much again, Julie, for jumping on. Julie Roman is at __VRO on Twitter. I am Matt Bradford at VMspot on Twitter. And of course, Thomas Bryant, who had to drop for another call here. He is Kix1979. So feel free, follow us on Twitter as well. VMware Cloud Management. That's where we tweet out all of the blogs, videos, any sort of interesting content, things that might be relevant to your cloud management journey. Of course, if you want to learn a little bit more about VMware's cloud management products, or even VMware's products in general, check out pathfinder.vmware.com. We have a number of paths that you can follow, various journeys through our products. So say like vRealize Operations. Hey, how do I monitor applications? Well, we'll take you through level 100, 200, 300, and even some hands-on type of content so you can really play around with these features yourself without having to install anything in your environment. So do check out pathfinder.vmware.com. Thanks again, everybody, for joining today. Really appreciate the comments, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.